Hello, my name is Brianna Sinclair, and this is my 60-second week on HRT. If you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe. You can join me over on X, Blue Sky, and I have a Discord. So if you want to, you can like, support, comment to support me on those social media platforms until I expand. That being said, let's get right into the video. Quick measurements update. My hips are 32 and a half, my bust is 37 and 3/4, and my waist is 25 and 1/4. So there's no change between last week and this week, which is fine. I kind of just didn't really expect no change. I just didn't know kind of all that was going to happen with this week. And I'll explain why. So I did kind of, well, we'll get to it. My emotional state. My emotional state, I think, is pretty well off. I do feel things considerably more deeply than whenever, I started my transition. Which is kind of evidence that my emotional range has widened, which is expected and fine. So it's like whenever I'm happier than I normally would have been as a boy, and then whenever I'm sadder, I'm considerably sadder as a girl, or sadder than I would have been as a boy. So, but yeah, I think just me feeling things a little bit differently now is causing me to have to change a little bit how I address people and how I do things, and I think that's an interesting observation. I don't know, it's a little weird and hard to fully articulate, but it's more if there's some kind of emotion behind it, I have to make sure that what I'm feeling is appropriate, I guess would be the best way to describe that. Hair reduction and growth. My body hair has significantly reduced, and the rate at which it grows, which is phenomenal for me. Just because if you've been watching me here, you know that I have minute cuts and abrasions all over my body from me digging in it with a razor and trying to fillet my skin a little bit just to get rid of the hair. Because it was so thick and there was so much of it, it just never seemed like it was going away or something like that. I just wanted it all off. I hated my body hair. Still do. It's a large part of my dysphoria for me, and I do try and kind of get rid of it. It's the best I can, kind of maintain it, but I look forward to doing laser hair removal everywhere, so that way I can just be hairless one day. Because I absolutely hate the hair on my body. Breast growth. They're still hurting, so I know that they're still growing, but my measurements don't reflect that they're still growing. It's just more of what I observe whenever I put on outfits that I've worn before or something like that, or if I notice them in some way. But they don't hurt as often, but whenever they do hurt, they really hurt. So I'm not 100% sure what that means, if it's just consistent stabbing, pulsing on my chest, or what. Should I cover everything? Fat redistribution. I've only really noticed my fat redistribution to my hips and my butt. Breasts, 2.5 extent in my face. There's been a little bit in my waist, but I'm not too worried. But we'll see. But the first I noticed was that within like my face, so I think like it was more like it deposited that like in my face first, which was very subtle, but it made a large difference. And if you go back to like my first video, it's very noticeable. And then obviously like comparing then and now, like I have breasts, my hips and my butt are getting wider, and something that kind of goes along with that is I have been eating differently. I've just been having like weird urges to eat different things, and I'm not 100% sure like what's really brought that on, but I don't know, it's really weird for me because I've never really had that before, and I'm not 100% sure like what would cause that, and I don't know, it's just very different. Sex drive. My sex drive is pretty much the same. I don't need it, so I don't really use it, and it's definitely less annoying, but like the ability to perform is still very much there, and I can still perform even whenever I don't like need to. Whenever I want to. I just, for me to perform with a partner, I have to have that emotional connection still, and nothing's really changed as far as that aspect goes. Me being tired, still very present and applicable. It's just more, mostly just due to like, I think my testosterone, but I kind of drink like an energy drink like once a day just to kind of like help even that out and give me the energy to do what I need to. So I'm just not sitting doing nothing or messing around on my phone. Muscle development. I haven't really noticed my muscles deteriorating any. Like my arms and stuff still look the same, which is kind of what like I mostly judge my muscle development on, is like how like whether or not I can lift stuff or move certain things or do certain things. And I haven't really noticed too much of a difference, but just because I don't notice it does not mean it's not happening. My voice, the only time I really get to practice my voice is on the phone. I don't really answer the phone too often, and a lot of times I'm kind of exhausted, so I resort back to like my normal voice, which is fine to an extent, because I don't want to damage the voice I've got, and I do try and practice to hopefully one day sound very, very feminine and be completely passable. Because I think the scariest thing about using like the women's restroom for me is like whether or not like someone's going to talk to me, because if they talk to me, I know they're going to be like, oh, this is like a transgender woman, and they're going to treat me differently. And I would just rather not talk to anyone at all, or just be able to answer whatever question that they have in my girl voice and quickly get out, because it's very awkward for me, and I'm not 100% sure how to deal with it as of yet, but it is what it is. And can. um, I haven't really heard back from like my job yet, as far as like when I'm expected to essentially lose it. It was supposed to be August 16th, but I have yet to hear anything. And I don't know, September 1st is supposed to be the last day, but we'll see how that goes. The reason I was a little bit surprised that my measurements didn't really change was I broke my waist trainer. I wear a waist trainer in my normal day-to-day outfits underneath them to give me a more feminine shape initially and to help snatch my waist a little bit, because it accentuates my hourglass figure. And I broke one of the ribs over here, and I only found it because it was stabbing into my side really good, and I was very upset, and I've been kind of like stressing about it because my waist kind of like helps me feel feminine. It's like one of the few things I would get complimented on, and it made me feel good to be like, to have that shape, and I got a lot of compliments on it and stuff like that. I don't want to go back to looking like a box. I would rather keep my hourglass shape, and so I ordered another one, except smaller, because the one I had, I was on the tightest setting already, and it did a good job. And it was a meat size medium. So I'm going down 2 sizes to hopefully be on the maximum setting for that and kind of work my way in. Because right now my waist without it is 25 1/4. I'd like to get my waist back down to 18 inches, and I would like my waist to hopefully, if I can get it back down to, if I can get it below 18 inches and start closing the gap between myself and the world record, which is like 16 inches. That would be kind of cool, but we'll see. My ex-wife wants me to get my breast augmentation as soon as I lose my job, because my job is the only thing really keeping me from getting a breast augmentation right now. But it be what it be. I don't think I want to yet, just specifically because I don't think they're done growing, and because I've only been on hormones for less than 1.5 years. I think 2 years is around like the time that they stop growing. I think it's like 2 to 5. I might be wrong on the long range, but the short range, I'm pretty sure is 2. But I wanted to get put on progesterone and be on that for a little while to help accelerate my breast growth, and I was hoping that once I got my breast augmentation, it would help kind of fill out my body a little bit more. Obviously, I kind of have this like large bust, tiny waist, hips that are, I do want bigger hips, but that's to kind of close the proportion gap between my shoulders and my hips and stuff, because there's like a ratio, and right now it's like kind of like this, and I'd kind of like to even that back out. I feel like this could be explained a little bit better with pictures, but if you draw a line going down from your shoulders to your waist, if they go out a little bit more, it's associated with a more feminine shape, but if they, like, towards the bottom, but if they're out up here, kind of like a little Dorito shape. It's more masculine. You're very broad, you have broad shoulders, and that's a very masculine trait. I'd like to look and feel as feminine as I can, because right now it's kind of a battle for me. I don't get all dolled up every day like I used to. I go to work and I wear feminine clothes and I pass without makeup, which is kind of wild to me. I didn't think I did, didn't know I did. My beard shadow still bothers me a lot. Right now I have it covered up pretty well. And whenever I do get dolled up, I don't have to worry about like my face or anything, whether or not like I need to shave right then and there or something like that, because like sometimes like I'll see it and I'll just run a razor over it just to try and smooth it out a little bit, but the razor in reality does nothing. I can just see it. Me seeing it is enough for me. We did have someone call in today and be like, hey, I have a suggestion for like your business. It's like you have like drag queens and it's pretty wild to a lot of cis women that a man can look like a girl and essentially be a female impersonator or drag queen. And they understand it takes a lot of skill and makeup to do that, to go from being such a masculine boy to being a very hyper feminine female. Well, woman, I should say. And we're opening up a business next door. It's a little boutique that also has a salon and stuff like that. That's multifaceted, mostly gearing towards like the LGBTQ community, but like also having like multiple avenues where we can teach women to do makeup. We can show transgender women how to do their makeup, and also have a good supply of makeup for them to choose from, and stuff like that, as well as like facilitating like good quality drag here if they need like tights, makeup, the like, and support like the groups that come in and like want to celebrate like brides celebrating their bachelorette parties and stuff like that. I'm excited for it. I do want to see it open, and I think that might be a good play in the future for like future businesses like this, because I would like to open up more, expand the number of restaurants I own, and hopefully kind of turn that into a good little business. Well, into a good job for myself, because I'm really good with numbers and I'm responsible with money for the most part, but I do what I can. I guess let's just get the walk out of the way. Not my usual outfit, but this was kind of lent to me, and it was a good night. It was our first, well, not our first, but it was a good night tonight. And I look forward to having many good nights. And That's all I have for this week. If you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe. Support me over on X, Discord, my Discord, and Blue Sky. And I hope to expand into more platforms. But with that being said, this is Brianna Sinclair, signing off.